Welcome to the Rocky and Meisty Show presented by Jew Stool. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Let's get right into it.
You're completely missing the boat, Amr. You're at the wrong dock.
I'd have to say this. If he's looking to go to a new team, the last thing he wants to do is be like, oh, I'm not. No, he's got to show up. And he's got to show the Browns, you just lost $250 million by not playing, by not giving me that money. You're going to give it to him? Go for it.
This is crazy. Tyreek Hill the Dolphins for 5 hits. Second to the division. Should we end the podcast now? I meant breaking news. Should we end it now? Now or later? Which one? I think I end it right now. So walk out right now. The division. Hear it first.
That's asinine. You're crazy.
He's got the full package.
No way. I don't care. No way. I can't even. It's hard to even look at you right now when you say something like that. That's crazy.
We want to talk about legacy-defining plays. And legacy-defining throws. 13 seconds, and you get the ball in field goal range. That is absolutely insane.
I'm going to be frank with you guys. Mitch Trubisky is not a good NFL quarterback. He has never been.
Okay, and guess what? In basketball, you use a basketball. In football, you use a football.
Breaking news here. Wow. I mean, everyone, for us Ravens fan, this is like bigger than Lamar Jackson getting traded, if he does. Gregg Roman is fired. Now, of course, the objective of the show is to preview the divisional round. I mentioned off the bat, Meisty and I were doing our power rankings earlier today. Believe it or not, even though it's not going to be released on the same day, these were recorded on the same day. I mentioned like last year.
Hard to believe.
Yeah, right. I know technology; it's unbelievable. Last year, the divisional round was the best weekend of football I've ever seen. I mean, I think I can truly say that. So if this lives up to that, we're in for a treat this weekend, no question about it. But before we do want to discuss Gregg Roman a little, not playoff related, although it's related to a team that just got knocked out of the playoffs, but because it's a Baltimore ran podcast. So Gregg Roman's fired here. What are we feeling, boys? How are we feeling about Roman being fired? The people in Baltimore have been screaming for this for a while now. So how are we feeling, guys? How are we feeling?
He gone.
He gone. No, I'm not happy with the way they left it. Just because him and John Harbaugh are good friends, just because he's been there for years, I understand he was part of this historic run, but he didn't win anything. We didn't get anywhere. Even John Harbaugh should start getting put on the hot seat a little bit. Like it's been 10 years, John. We haven't really even gotten to an AFC Championship game since then. We haven't done nothing since then. Right, like you have to give us something if you want to keep having this job. Part of it to me is they should have fired him. I understand contract was up. Maybe you have to pay somebody something. Like no, it should have been like, dude, you suck. Like you have one job, and that's to tell Lamar Jackson, hey Lamar, turn around and hand it to JK, and you failed. Like you had one simple job. I do give him credit for last game. He called a very, very good game this past game. Huntley, like he does every single game, he makes the dumbest mistake. The one thing that you're like, Huntley, don't do this, and he did it. He went up instead of going down. It was just, so I give Gregg Roman credit for that, but I really wanted it to be like a headline that just said, fired, he gone. It was like. And instead, it was like we're celebrating the legacy that Gregg Roman gave us. Like, bruh, it was 4 years of having amazing talent, calling somewhat of a good season, and then pooping the bed in the playoffs every year. Like, it wasn't. He didn't do anything. He's good. He's great. I hope he finds another job somewhere in high school, but. I don't know. I don't know why the Ravens are out there, and it's pissing me off because the Ravens are out here like acting like he was here for 15 years and brought us 3 Super Bowls.
Well, listen, he definitely led Lamar to an amazing MVP season, and that was all him. But when the NFL started to quote unquote figure him out and figure out their schemes, he was not able to adjust, and Lamar regressed in those 2 years afterwards. And we've seen this in San Francisco with Colin Kaepernick. We've seen this in Buffalo with Tyrod Taylor, that Gregg Roman finds something and he finds a spark, and he really peaked with Lamar finding an MVP, creating MVP with his scheming. But then the defenses adjust, and he cannot adjust. He has not made the adjustments on the adjustments, and so this has been a long time coming. And I actually disagree with you, Meisty. In the crunch time, I did not think he called a good game. He was calling a fine game, I guess, but first and goal from the 3 after Huntley had a 40-yard run, and the first play was a fullback screen, and I was like, what are we doing? Just hand the ball off. 3 plays. J.K. Dobbins not getting a single carry in the 5. That says it all. And there's a reason why they had to part ways, not fire, but part ways with Gregg Roman. But yeah, I was looking at those scores from last year, Rocky, and you talked about the divisional round being the best weekend of football you've ever seen. And I'm just remembering every single game was a 1-score game. Every single game was a field goal game except for that Buffalo-Kansas City game, which didn't even need to be a field goal game because that was one of the greatest games of all time. So yeah, that's a tall task to live up to.
Yeah, and that's a great transition. We had over an hour worth of course, we'll get to Gregg Roman and the whole Ravens discussion in the offseason. But, we had over an hour's worth.
No, that's all we need to mention.
Yeah, right. No, but there's a lot to discuss concerning the Ravens offense. We had over an hour's worth of review. Our review podcast for that divisional round was nuts because we all had so much to say. Morty was in on it. We all had so much to say on that. We all had so much on our mind because all 4 games were just absolutely crazy. So let's get into the previews, man, and let's see if we can live up to that. It won't be quite as long, but we'll still try to break down some of the matchups and see what's interesting here. So just to lead it off, we can obviously go in order chronologically. We got the Jags versus the Chiefs, and the Jags are trying to accomplish something that is not very easy to accomplish, right? Number one, you go into against the Chargers as underdogs. They were underdogs against the Chargers and came back from 27 points. Now, when I turned on the TV initially, it was 17-0. The Chargers were at like the 40-yard line and driving, and then they went up 24-0. And I went ahead to text like, this game is over. I mean, I didn't think there was a chance that the Chargers were coming back. I'm like, finally, Trevor Lawrence is getting a Saturday loss. This game is absolutely over. And if I would have tweeted it, maybe I would have gotten old takes explode. Probably not, because there are probably a lot of other people, a lot of more important people than me that got, or at least probably more famous people than me that probably tweeted that as well. But, at the end of the day, I mean, it was over. And here comes the Jags. Trevor Lawrence's 4 first-half interceptions, came back strong, played better in the second half. Credit to the Jags defense for making all those stops. And the Jags offensive game plan really came together in that second half, and they got the big win. But Yehuda, can they pull the upset against the Chiefs?
Yeah, I think I saw Trevor said something that he said, I don't think Arrowhead's going to be as loud. I don't think it could be as loud as we had on in Jacksonville. And he said, well, that is when we're on defense and not when we're on offense. Right. That's going to be a little different going into Arrowhead. And I don't think he meant it as a slight, but I think I saw some fans are saying that they're like, whoa, you want to see loud? We'll show you loud, Trevor. Okay, this is Arrowhead. We literally break glass with the decibel level of the fan noise in Arrowhead, and I think they're going to be rocking, and they're going to be fresh, healthy, coming off a bye. And I saw people. One friend of mine said that of the divisional rounds games, he thinks the Jags are the best chance underdog to steal a win. And I said, there's just no way. The Chiefs get bored in the regular season. They were literally playing Ring Around the Rosie.
Literally.
Against the Raiders.
Yeah.
They lost Tyreek Hill, and they didn't miss a beat. It probably made Patrick Mahomes a better quarterback because he can't rely on just chucking deep ball. He has to actually progress through an offense, and he has to work on his footwork and stuff. But having Travis Kelce and that connection, and now Jerick McKinnon, who seems to score a touchdown a game in the most random ways possible with all these screens or just weird passes that Mahomes does, I don't see any way that the Jags can win this game because they're going at home. This is literally like a tune-up game for the Chiefs. They always win these games. And Patrick Mahomes, I believe, has been in the AFC Championship every single year of his career.
Ridiculous.
Like that he's starting, not 2017, obviously, but 2018, 2019, 2020. And he was hosting this. I believe he was hosting every single AFC Championship game. And this year, if they do make it against Buffalo, which we'll see based on our picks, but if they're playing Buffalo, then it would be a neutral site. But if not, then he could have his 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, fifth straight year hosting an AFC Championship game, which is ridiculous. That's Tom Brady level, but to another level. And this Chiefs team is is just so good. They're number one EPA per play. They are the number one offense according to DVOA. They're just ridiculous. And the Jaguars, obviously Trevor was gifting the Chargers offense with a lot of opportunities with all those picks in the first half, but their pass defense is in itself already not very good, and I think Mahomes is going to carve them up. They already played earlier this season, and the Chiefs were easily able to win by 10, and now when the Chiefs are quote unquote when they're actually trying in the playoffs, I think they will be able to handle the Jags easily.
Yeah, you mentioned Mahomes. He's been able to improvise. That has shown the maturity of Patrick Mahomes. I mentioned this on the ranking podcast that we did just a little earlier today, that, the development of Patrick Mahomes has been fascinating, because the first year of his career, I shouldn't say the first year, the first few years of his career, you sort of saw, well, he's a big play machine. He's got these wacky, almost Brett Favre-esque, crazy types of throws behind the back, this, that, 40, 50 yards down the field. You put the Chiefs in a hole, no problem. They can come back from 24-0 and you don't even flinch, right? But last year, that wasn't the case. They took away the big play from Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, and he had to learn how to improvise. And he did so towards the end of the season in a great way. So that's shown the maturity of Patrick Mahomes and his ability to adjust. Meisty, what do you think about this game? You think the Jags got a chance to pull off this upset?
Yeah, I'm very in tune to this game. I mean, if there's someone that can do it, why can it not be the Jaguars, right? I'll give you a few reasons they can do it. Well, I mean, there's definitely a few reasons why, the Jaguars have a chance here. I mean, at the end of the day, there's still a defense on the other side here for the Chiefs, and the Jaguars often should be able to push the ball down there and score. They should be able to do some damage. They should. On the other side, yes, the Chiefs should be able to just kind of do whatever they want offensively.
Yes.
But but the Jaguars have survived all season off these big stops, these big plays on defense, and yeah, they're gonna have to figure out how to stop Kelce and Jarrett McKinnon and 500 and the 5 receivers, whoever they decide to put out there that day. Exactly. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of work. But the ball bounces their way a couple times. They do have a shot at this. Do I think they do? No. If you want a prediction from me, 31-17, Chiefs win very simply, very easily. Nothing crazy. No. Oh, here comes a comeback. No, the Chiefs. The Chargers did that because the Chargers are the Chargers, and they lost momentum. If you bounce a ball off your head on a punt return, the Chiefs are going to take that ball and score a touchdown, and next the score is way blown out. You can't throw 4 picks in the first quarter.
Yep.
But if Trevor Lawrence comes out playing like he did in the second half, I mean he's got a shot.
Yeah, by the way, people forget, about 5 years ago, the Jaguars actually pulled off a big upset against the Steelers in the divisional round, which Blake Bortles on their way to the AFC Championship game, in which they almost pulled off an upset. They lost 24-20 against Tom Brady and the Patriots. So the Jaguars certainly have, upset written all over them. They did it in 96 as well, pulled off a big upset in the divisional round against the Broncos. So, with Mark Brunell. So they've obviously been prone to those. They've been able to be on the side of these big upsets, and this would be an enormous upset as well. And, when I look at it, I think what's a little overrated about last week is that Trevor Lawrence played well. He was decent. He was all right. Wasn't great. I mean, at the end of the day, it's funny because when you look at the 4 interceptions, 2 of them were not his fault. According to PFF, he had 1 turnover-worthy play the entire game, despite 4 interceptions. So, it wasn't that he played bad. He was just decent, just like he was against the Titans. He was decent. It was really on the tails of the defense, making all the stops. They only allowed 3 points in the second half. Something that goes underrated about last week's game against the Chargers is that they only allowed 3 points in the second half. You need to do that. The 2 things need to happen for you to make a massive comeback, right? You need to score 4 times, which is possible, right? You come into it 27-0 at halftime, and you're like, can we score 4 touchdowns? Yeah, we can score 4 touchdowns in 30 minutes in today's NFL. It's not the craziest thing, but can we only allow the Chargers can we shut out the Chargers, essentially, which they essentially did, only allow them to 3 points. That is the more difficult part of this, guys. And they did that, right? And that's something that goes under the radar. So credit to their defense. And the defense came with the big play against the Titans when Trevor Lawrence was not playing particularly well. Again, those were 2 games that were very mediocre for Trevor Lawrence. So I need to see him step up his game this week if they're to have any chance. Because he has not been playing that great. And you need to see great play in order to go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes. I don't think there's any question about that, guys. Yeah, you got to be great. Okay, let's move on because we're on a clock here. So we got the Eagles-Giants, which is Saturday night. Now the bye games are both the teams with the byes are obviously going to get those Saturday games. So Another 3-match, guys. 4th time in the playoffs that we have a rematch for the 3rd time this season. I think Yehuda, we got you back. Okay, good. 29 times in history. 29 times. Listen to this statistic. 29 times in history, the teams have played for the 3rd time in the playoffs. Only 5 times a team has swept. Right? Meaning 29 times in history, a team has played for the 3rd time with a chance for one team to sweep all 3. And only 5 times have the team swept. Only 1 time in the divisional round. I think it happened 4 times in the wild card round and 1 time in the divisional round. Something like that.
You're telling me the team, the Giant, like it usually
It favors the Giants.
The Giants.
Yeah, correct. If that trend continues, the Giants would win. Which obviously we wouldn't imagine that the trend would continue in this context. But there is something. Even though last week I said, I don't believe in the thing, but I don't believe in the concept of it's so hard to beat a team 3 times. I still don't know. I still don't know if I believe it so much. I really don't, because at the end of the day, most of the time those teams are probably relatively evenly matched. This week they're not. They're not evenly matched. So obviously, I think that trend is going to be bucked. By the way, did we get to predictions for the last game? Okay, we'll get to that, all the Saturday games anyway. But obviously, I think that trend is going to be bucked. But you tell me, Meisty, you're Eagles hater.
Yeah. I was really not looking forward to seeing the Giants. Like, I had this whole script of the playoffs in my head of, it was going to be the Vikings beat the Giants, and they're going to go to the 49ers, and then the Cowboys would beat the Bucks and go to the Eagles, and Cowboys-Eagles would have been that game. Are the Giants back? Are the Giants good? I don't know. Do they have a shot? Do they have a real shot? Yeah, they do. Because why? Because they got Daniel Jones. They got the coach of the year right now. I mean, there's a lot of things that the ball is bouncing the Giants' way. This is the type of team the Giants are when they go on Super Bowl runs. Yep. They're not some team that won the division. No, they come in. First of all, I think it plays into their favor that 2 of the other teams in the playoffs are there. If they win, yep, they get a chance to go up against the Cowboys. That's huge for them, right? Like they get to play their division. This is huge for the Giants.
Familiarity
is falling their way. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot falling away. Now, go back to it. Do I think that the Giants have a shot? No. Will I be placing my $500 bet? No. Will I be placing a lot of money on the Giants still? Yes. But
great breakdown.
But I just want to say one thing before we continue on this game. There are 2 things, right? Yehuda mentioned it. There are 2 things something has to give. The 2 powers in this world. We have Mahomes always has been to every AFC Championship game as a starter, and Trevor Lawrence, who hasn't lost on a Saturday, going head to head. This will do it. This will do it. But the Giants and the Eagles are the best team in the league, hands down, pretty much, outside the Chiefs as the only other argument. But definitely in the NFC, it's not even close, right? They blow away everyone. Now, that's just as a team. They have some inexperience. Like, you're like, the Eagles just won the Super Bowl. There's probably 4 or 5 from the team then that are still on the team.
Jake Elliott.
Like, yeah. Exactly. And maybe some linemen, maybe a lineman.
Jason Kelsey's
Jason
Kelsey was on the team.
Maybe someone a rookie, maybe a rookie or 2. Yeah, maybe a rookie or 2. But it's not the same team. They don't know what it takes to win. They ain't even the same coaching staff.
Yep.
This team, they don't know what it's like to be in the playoffs. Jalen Hurts never been in the playoffs.
Last year.
He doesn't know. That's all. Harris, inexperienced in the playoffs. Let's go with that. Right? I don't remember what happened to them last year in the playoffs.
He's 0-1 in the playoffs. He lost to the Bucks. He lost to Tom Brady.
Daniel Jones has a heck of a lot of experience in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, where's all the hate on Jalen Hurts for not having a good playoff record?
Yeah,
right.
Daniel Jones is 1-0.
Yeah,
and he's probably the best quarterback in the league.
Daniel Jones must be better.
He was QB1 last week. Outside of Dak Prescott, he was QB1. Yeah. I don't know where you put Dak Prescott. I mean, he played a garbage team, but Daniel Jones. No, but the point is, do the Giants have a chance if everything goes perfect? The bottom line is it's gonna come down to Saquon Barkley if you really want it. Yep. Eagles defense has struggled this year. We've seen that. We've seen that before. We saw the Redskins run all over them. the Commanders run all over them. We
Saints.
saw. Say it again. The Saints ran all over them. So teams can run all over them, and if there's somebody who's going to run all over them, it's Saquon Barkley. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to convince myself.
Yeah, that's what I can see. You're trying to talk yourself into it.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk myself into the Giants here. I mean, two Penn State guys and Miles Sanders and Saquon Barkley. That would be a cool matchup. I mean, nothing really is there. Let's see. I don't know. There's nothing really here that's like helping me out.
Well, Dexter Lawrence is the matchup that I would highlight if you were to look at a.
Other than your stat that you sent me, that you said before about the sweep, it's hard to sweep.
It's very hard to sweep, and like I said, Dexter Lawrence is going to be a great mismatch up front. I mean, at the end of the day, Jason Kelce is one of the best centers in football, but a man that at the nose tackle position is able to create that much penetration, it's really unheard of. Except for Aaron Donald. He's revolutionary in what he's done. He's the second most pressures in the league as an interior defensive lineman this year, only behind the one and only Chris Jones. So obviously he has been very dominant. According to PFF, he is tied as the number one interior defensive lineman in the league this year. So Dexter Lawrence is going to be a mismatch problem, no doubt about it. But other than that, I don't know what to tell you, Meisty.
I think the X factor has got to be Jalen Hurts' shoulder, because he came back in Week 18 when the Giants rested their starters, when I wasn't sure what to expect. If the Giants still had some hate in their heart from 2020 when the Eagles rested their starters to give Washington the victory. But that was a different coaching staff, so Brian Daboll, I guess, didn't really care, and it worked out because they were able to rest their starters and beat the Vikings. But we always say, I mean, we just keep talking about it. It's hard to beat a team 3 times, and it's a cliche. It's a football cliche. But I didn't realize that there was that much actually behind it. If there's 29 times, only 5 times does a team sweep, there really is something to that. And something I saw recently, I mean, is just that the title of an NFL video was, does this Giants team have that 2007 feel to it?
Oh, yeah.
And that Giants team was very, very much not good, and then they just kind of squeaked into the playoffs. And then
there are those making the comparison between Eli Manning and Daniel Jones. I've heard that as well.
And I think Daniel is obviously a much more mobile guy. And I don't know if they're 2007 Giants, because this is more of a rebuild year. That Giants team was expected to be, at least kind of good, but 3 times playing divisional opponent 3 times. They literally just played them 2 weeks ago, and Jalen Hurts and his shoulder did not look the best. And as Micey says, that the defense can struggle at times in these, especially their run defense. So it comes down to Saquon Barkley. Everything Micey was saying, very true. But sexy Dexy, as my Giants friend says, and does the whole dance when Dexter Lawrence gets all up in Jalen Hurts' face, pressure up the middle, and if they can contain him as a rusher, contain this rushing offense, the Giants can at least keep it close. And then if it's close, anything's possible. But I could also see the scenario where Jalen Hurts has been resting. He's been feeling good. He's getting back into the groove, and this Eagles team just overpowers their divisional opponent. They come with that extra fire because they know it's a divisional opponent, and everyone's saying, "Oh, it's hard to beat a team 3 times," and then they just go out and wax them. So both scenarios are doable for me, or visible. Like I can see both of those happening, but I do think that the Giants are going to keep it close, but with the Eagles ultimately winning because they have the better team, and if they can contain Daniel Jones, because both of these teams have rushing quarterbacks and good rushing offenses. That's going to be very exciting to see if play breaks down and then the quarterback just escapes out of the pocket and makes something happen and makes a play under duress. That's when football's at its most exciting, and we could definitely see a lot of that this weekend. But I think the Eagles pass rush, they had 70 sacks, number 1 pass rush win rate. They almost broke the NFL record for most sacks in a season. That will probably win them the game, as we saw in 2017 also, when they had the backup quarterback. Did not expect them to go anywhere with Nick Foles, but their O-line, which is probably the best in the league, as it was then and as it is now, one of the best in the league, and their D-line, where they just have these rotating guys who are just so good. Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick, Fletcher Cox up the middle. They got just amazing depth and they will get some sacks, and they're going to get in Daniel Jones' face, give him some pressure, and probably win a close one.
So here's a fun fact for you, Yehuda. It's hard to sack a quarterback when you're handing it off a lot. So just saying, you give it to Saquon and not a lot of sacks. Just saying.
Interesting point. Well, you talk about Daniel Jones' mobility, Yehuda. Daniel Jones is top 5 in the league in rushing yards amongst quarterbacks this year, behind the big 4, right? Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Kyler Murray was injured for a good portion of the year. So, he's been over 700 rushing yards this year. So, that mobility has been an underrated factor about his game, and especially on third down. He's been able to convert a lot of third downs with his legs, much like Joe Burrow has been able to, which we'll get in a second here. But, yeah, ultimately, I agree with you. There's too much talent on this Eagles team. You mentioned the front seven, but what about the back end with James Bradbury and Darius Slay? There is so much talent on this Eagles team in general, and the defense specifically. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Eagles here as well. And I'm assuming we're all picking the Chiefs for the first window. We missed that.
Yes, I'll pick them up more than 10.
No, you said 31-17 Chiefs. I remember.
Oh, yeah, 31-17 Chiefs. And then for this game,
we lost him.
We're going
we got him.
27-24 Giants.
Oh, he went for it. He did it.
Game-winning field goal.
Upset of the week.
Give me whoever the kid is. I don't know who he is, but the entire New York.
Not Brett Maher. Not Brett Maher.
The entire New York will be standing on their feet, and the entire state of New York will be cheering while the New York Giants kick a game-winning field goal to beat the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, we'll see about that. Let's get to the game that we've all been waiting for.
Yes.
The Bengals versus Bills. Now, this is obviously a game. As a Ravens fan, you weren't necessarily waiting for it, but as a football fan, you were, because, the whole Damar Hamlin situation, obviously, number one. Number two, this was the game that never happened. The best game of the season that never happened. Monday Night Football. This, people don't really forget. We know the hype that surrounded this game. I saw people in Cincinnati that were in the morning, and that game was at 8:20 Eastern time or something. I mean,
on Monday.
On Monday. On Monday morning, there were people that were tailgating at the stadium, ready to roll. It was the biggest regular season game maybe in recent memory in Cincinnati history, in Cincinnati. So obviously, this is going to be a huge game. We finally get to see this game. Now, a lot of the Cincinnati fans are not happy about the fact that this is in Buffalo, because they had a chance, if they would have beaten the Bills, to make this a home game. But nonetheless, it's going to be in Buffalo. Slight chance of snow. I'm seeing maybe under an inch. I was hoping for more. You always love to see snow in these types of games, right? But at the end of the day, we're going to get this rematch, and I'm pumped for it. Personally, I put it at the 3 o'clock window on Sunday, which is a new thing, by the way. They used to do a few years ago, I remember. It used to be divisional round. It was 1 o'clock and 4:30 were the two games. Now they did it 3 o'clock and 6, which I think is smarter. It's smack in the middle of the day, right? So I like the way they do that, more like the NFC AFC Championship games. But how are we feeling, Yehuda, about this game?
Oh my gosh. As a Ravens fan, obviously I did not want to see the Bengals winning and this game, but I expected it 90% of the way. But besides for
feelings aside.
Besides for at first and goal when it was 17-17, and I'm like, oh my God, we're going to score and we're going to win this game. But besides for that, I expected the Bengals to win. I expected the Bills to win, and they didn't look so good in their game, keeping it close against Skylar Thompson. Josh Allen was just chucking it around. But yes, I was very, very much looking forward to this game, and I'm very happy that it is in Buffalo, because I want the Bills to have home field advantage, because I want to see the Bengals' downfall. I've been praying on that for weeks. So this is pretty great. Like you said, exactly, it's the game that never happened, the game that was paused, the game that, thank God, Damar Hamlin is doing better, and he's going to walk out of that tunnel right before the game, and the place is going to go crazy. And
it's going to be great.
The place is going to be rocking, and it's going to be snowy, it's going to be loud, it's going to be amazing. So we can finally finish this battle of heavyweights. I like to think that the Bengals think they're a heavyweight. Obviously, they made the Super Bowl last year, but not really on the level of the Bills and the Chiefs. But it is going to be an awesome game. And Joe Burrow had some problems last week against the Ravens defense, and Josh Allen had some problems giving on those giveaways against the Dolphins defense. So Ravens defense obviously much better, but to see Josh Allen struggle against the Dolphins defense was a little surprising, especially because they're a divisional opponent, and obviously the Dolphins know their tendencies, but the Bills should know the Dolphins' tendencies, as their defense also is not very good. But Josh Allen's still able to make some amazing throws, and finish when they needed to, and the Bills defense was able to finish when they needed to, and close out the Dolphins and not let Skylar Thompson beat them. But this can be exciting because we saw the Bengals come out hot in the first 10 minutes of that game before it was cut short. They were coming out hot and they were scoring on this defense, which is supposed to be one of the best in the NFL. So how the Bills defense responds, because I know the Bills are going to score points, but how the Bills defense responds to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and probably shuts down the Bengals' non-existent run game. So it will come down to Joe Burrow's arm. So as long as Matt Milano and Tremaine at these linebackers making plays and the safeties and corners are making plays, I think the Bills should be able to win because their offense is going to be able to score on this defense. You know what, honestly, like we might see 80, 85 combined pass attempts between these teams, and that's exactly what the NFL wants. They just want to chucking it, pass.
Oh yeah.
No run game. We're going to get
10
10 attempts, and half of those attempts will be Josh Allen running. But it's going to be so exciting, and I cannot wait for Sunday.
Yeah, by the way, that's exactly what I think is going to happen. And, you know, the loss of Von Miller is really going to hurt the Bills in this game because at the end of the day, what's the Bengals' weak point? It's no secret that the three of their starting offensive linemen are injured, and therefore, you know, the Ravens took advantage of it last week. The Ravens have a slightly above average pass rush, although, you know, McDonald's been very good at scheming up pressure with, Calais Campbell and Justin Houston, but they were simply able to take advantage of a weak offensive line, smart veteran players. And the Bills had that when they would have had Von Miller, but now that they don't, I mean, they could still take advantage, but at the end of the day, you look at Joe Burrow's splits. When Joe Burrow is kept clean, when he's not blitzed, when he's kept clean, this man is dangerous. This man is one of the most dangerous players in football because at the end of the day, when he's kept clean, you look at the numbers here, a 93.9 offensive grade. That is remarkable. Almost a 94 offensive grade, 27 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, of which only 6 are really turnover-worthy plays. That translates into 23 big-time throws, 6 turnover-worthy plays. And an adjusted completion percentage of 78.5. Adjusted completion percentage pretty much means that you take out all the throwaways, the spikes, and all the stuff that really shouldn't count, right? So if you take away all that stuff, his adjusted completion percentage is 78.5 from a clean pocket. So it's not to say that Joe Burrow is not good under pressure. He has proved that he can be pretty good under pressure. But this man from a clean pocket is when he's dangerous. And all this, all these investments that the Bengals have made up front have gotten injured, right? Kappa and Collins both going down before the Ravens game. And now Jonah Williams is injured. And it's not like Jonah Williams is playing great this year anyway. So, So at the end of the day, this is going to be very problematic for the Bengals. And Joe Burrow is going to have to get the ball out quickly. The plays are not going to be able to develop like he wants them to. He wants to be able to hit T. Higgins, Jamar Chase down the field. He might have to rely on Tyler Boyd more in the slot. At the end of the day, this does not play to the Bengals' strength. With Von Miller there, I would say Bills for sure are winning. I might still predict the Bills, but it's going to be much closer because Joe Burrow proved already last year that he can improvise with a bad offensive line. Now, this offensive line might be worse, by the way. Underrated. With all the injuries, this might be worse than the terrible offensive line they had last year. But because he proved that already, I'm not ready to just write the Bengals off. But they're going to struggle, Yehuda. They're going to struggle to keep Joe Burrow clean. He's going to get hit.
Yeah, I mean, I totally disregard that when I was just doing my analysis of the game. They have no O-line right now.
Yeah.
They're starting Adeniji and Carmen Jackson or Jackson Carmen. These guys are second, third stringers, and they are really bad. And they were the reason that the Bengals lost the Super Bowl. I mean, obviously the defense gave it up, but Joe Burrow is not going to have time against his Bills O-line, which is not as deep as the Eagles, but like you said, if they had Von Miller, I'd for sure pick the Bills. Yeah, but they still have depth, and they still have awesome pass rush. And I'm assuming Micey's going to go with the Bengals just to be contrarian, but that it's going to give them some serious problems. They're going to have to do a lot of short game. We saw so much short game against the Ravens that because they just couldn't set up enough time, and that, like you said, an average pass rush with the Ravens, and now facing a top tier pass rush against the Bills, it's probably going to be too much to ask this weakened O-line to do.
So you got the Bills.
Bro, what you guys are talking about? I don't know what you guys are talking about. Let's just start with this. Okay, let's go with this. Everyone's talking about. Everyone.
What happened to Mike?
Talking about the Bengals being this big play team and the constant big playmaking. And the bottom line is this. The Bengals, they know how to drive the ball. I don't care what type of defense they're facing, how good of a defensive line you have. The point of the Bengals is they drive the field. They have the talent to just short, quick plays. From Jamar Chase to T. Higgins to Tyler Boyd to Joe Mixon to Hayden Hurst. I mean, every single one of their receivers and are capable of doing anything. Their defense is not that great, but Josh Allen lives off these home run deep balls, and Josh Allen doesn't drive the ball well. Josh Allen lives off these deep balls.
He does.
Rocky's going to hit me with some PFF stat.
44 big-time throws. No. You're absolutely right. 44 big-time throws. He's most in the league. Yeah, I know. PFF backs this up. PFF backs this up.
Just from football, I can tell you what I see. That's
PFF. That's PFF. You just watch the game. That's what it is, man.
No, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to who makes less mistakes. And from what I've watched all season long is Joe Burrow makes less mistakes than Josh Allen. And that's how I see it. And at the end of the day, when Eli Apple comes away with 2.5 interceptions, and I don't know how you get half, but we're going to say 2.5 because it's Eli Apple. And you're going to be like, oh, Eli Apple is going to like flex his muscles. And you're going to be like, how do you do it? And you're going to realize that because it's Josh Allen throwing
red zone interception for sure.
Haymakers, and he happened to miss his receiver. I really do see. And once again, there's a reason why the Bengals went to the Super Bowl last year. It's because Joe Burrow, plain and simple, one man doing it all, doing what he's got to do. Give me the Bengals, 34-28.
Ooh, okay. You got the Bengals with the banged up offensive line.
By the way, I was going to wear my Joe Burrow jersey. Yes, I have a Joe Burrow jersey.
Gross.
And what happened was, I called my brother. I'm like, "Where's my Joe Burrow jersey?" And he said, "Oh, his friend has it."
You're just giving it away. You should be giving it away.
So, final prediction: you got the Bengals. Yehuda, you got the Bills.
Yeah, real quick before I go out and go 31-27 Bills.
31-27 Bills. I got the Bills as well. And we'll say goodbye to Yehuda for the last game.
Right.
We'll see you later, Yehuda.
All right.
Peace.
Awesome week of football, guys.
All right, let's knock it out with the last game. Meisty, I was able to transition relatively smooth over there with our, Morty, our producer, trained me very well. So, I was able to try to transition that. All right, let's get to the last game, baby. We got the Niners. We got the Cowboys. How are we feeling about this game, Meisty? How are we feeling about Dak Prescott going into San Fran head-to-head with Brock Purdy?
So, my money's on the 49ers. Been that way since they got Christian McCaffrey. I've been all money on the 49ers going to the Super Bowl. I actually have them losing the Super Bowl this year. That's where I have the 49ers finishing as another Super Bowl loss in the life of just to cause chaos, just straight chaos in San Francisco. If they win, then you just stick with Brock Purdy because he won you a Super Bowl. Whether or not he comes out good next year, you just stick with him because he just won you the Super Bowl. But if they lose the Super Bowl, I don't know. We have Trey Lance, we have Jimmy Garoppolo. Do you stick with Brock Purdy? Do you trade away a Tom Brady? Maybe the next Tom Brady, you're going to trade him away? Who knows? Point is, this is an historic game right here. And I totally should have been looking up the numbers and who has more wins overall in history between these two. I love this matchup. I think this is the perfect game for Sunday night. Sunday night, or is it? Yeah, Sunday night.
Yeah.
6:30.
Last game of the slate. I think
it's perfect. I mean, you get two teams who are just stacked. You talk about stacked teams right here. You're talking about we talked about this, right? And pardon my take, the podcast I listen to, they always talk about having they talk about a guy off. Which if you just started going to a team, you pull up the team roster and start saying, "Oh, who has more guys? Who has better players?" Right? Overall, you got the Chargers. The Chargers are stacked, right? Cowboys stacked. The 49ers just stacked their team. This is a game of stackables. 49ers riding their 49ers are on an 11-game win streak with probably some of the best depth I've ever seen in history when it comes to just offense. And everyone that they put out on the field, Brock Purdy is hitting. And and what not Travis Kelce, what George Kittle, who I thought, by the way, was done. I thought like, oh, George Kittle came and went, like that's the end of him. No, he has like resurrected and become this, this tight end that everyone's like, whoa, where did he come from? And Christian McCaffrey, I mean, is there any better running back in the league than Christian McCaffrey? I don't know. I'm rooting for the Cowboys because I'd love to see America has now become like, they say the Cowboys are America's team. Yeah. And it now feels like the Cowboys have become like America's enemy. Like everyone hates the Cowboys.
The Patriots were that with Tom Brady for a while because he kept on winning. So
well, yeah. So I think that people now want to watch everyone used to want the Cowboys to win. Now everyone wants the Cowboys to lose. So I got on the train of, well, let's get the Cowboys to win now. I would love to see the Cowboys go on a run here. I would give anything to watch the Cowboys go to Philly. I mean, come on, Cowboys going to Philly.
That would be fun.
Sick.
That would be fun.
Sickest game of all time. I think they have a tie.
I know it would be fun, but I sort of feel like Eagles-Niners would be more fun, But you being the contrarian that you are, you obviously want you want to go against what everyone wants. Everyone wants the Cowboys to lose. You want the Cowboys to win, which I hear. In sports, it's fun to go against the narrative, So I definitely hear that. But the Niners match up very well with the Cowboys. Like, yes, Micah Parsons is gonna give the Niners offensive line trouble, but it's an offensive line that's been playing well this year. They obviously got the best offensive line the best offensive lineman in recent memory in Trent Williams, and he's just a game breaker. But top 10 defense in the league, right? Charvarius Ward, coming over from Kansas City, has been a top 10 corner this year. You can argue. They got Bosa up front. They got so many talented players on the defensive side. I always talk about the offense and all those weapons they have, but at the end of the day, the Niners can beat you in both ways. And Dak Prescott has a real challenge coming up. I mean, last week, I hate to say it, the Bucs should have a good defense, but they don't. They just didn't have a good defense this year. I hate this. Everything was very average for the Bucs the entire year. The offense, the defense was very average, and he was able to take advantage of that. But Dak Prescott's been prone to slinging the ball to the defense every now and then in the playoffs, and in the regular season for that matter. He's been prone to doing that. So against a team that can apply pressure and that can cover up on the back end with a good secondary, I'm nervous about what Dak Prescott can do in this game, Ice-T. So, that being said, I don't think the Cowboys can win this game. I just don't. The only way I see the Cowboys winning this game is if Brock Purdy comes back down to earth and becomes Mr. Irrelevant again. But if he continues to sort of be that game manager, he's better than Jimmy G already. I already like him better than Jimmy G. my opinion about Jimmy G. But unless that happens, I'm going with the Niners to win this game. No, certainly, Ice-T.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I'll tell you like this. Here's how. I love. By the way, the over/under is 46 in this game. I love the under.
The under, yes. I like that as well.
Yeah, because like you said it, hit it on the money. Brock Purdy will struggle against this Cowboys defense. Why? Cowboys defense is not good, but Micah Parsons can get you. Right? A couple Micah Parsons hit, and Brock Purdy be like, uh-oh, I'm getting hit by a real NFL player now. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be fun. Also, guys like Trevon Diggs, right, who we are big haters of Trevon Diggs. We do not like Trevon Diggs here on the Rocky and Ice-T show. But I will say this about him. Where he's good is against inexperienced quarterbacks, a quarterback that he can easily read, a quarterback that, like, he can jump his routes, right? A one-look quarterback, a quarterback that might not be he's never played him before. So this is something.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
If he doesn't sit there, if Brock Purdy, like you said, it's gonna be a huge test for Brock Purdy. There could be a lot of diversity here against Brock Purdy. But at the end of the day, like you said, the 49ers have a lot of talent on the team, and they have a better defense. Dak Prescott falls apart here. Very low scoring game. I like 21-17. 49ers.
Second straight year, 49ers trying to beat the Cowboys in the playoffs. Last year was the famous Dak slide where the Niners pulled it off. That was the best game of Wild Card Weekend, no question. So, the Cowboys are going to definitely look to have revenge. And you mentioned Trevon Diggs, who's been probably a little better this year than last year, not allowing as many yards. I think he's in the 700-something range in terms of yardage allowed. Last year was 1,000 or something like that. So, obviously not as bad, but also doesn't have as many upside plays this year, and it's not as many big interceptions like he had last year. So, with less chances comes less chances for turnovers, to force turnovers. So, obviously there's territory with that, but, then he'll attack the other side of the secondary with Jaron Curse, which, is weaker. So, the Cowboys secondary is not great. It's all right. And, Micah Parsons is going to have a big responsibility here. And at the end of the day, I just see too many playmakers. Like, you don't know what the Niners are going to pull out of their hat. Is it going to be Deebo Samuel in the backfield? Is it going to be Deebo Samuel out wide? Is it going to be George Kittle up the middle? Is it going to be Brandon Ayuk, on the edge? Is it going to be McCaffrey in the slot? Like, you really have no idea what's going to happen. Is it going to be Kyle Juszczyk as a tight end? Like, you freaking, you know what I'm saying? This Niners team has more. It's like playing chess. It's like playing chess. It's so difficult to plan for this Niners team in 40 seconds, which is all you have, right, to plan for the upcoming play, when you have no idea where anyone's going to line up. Deebo can line up anywhere. Ayuk can line up anywhere. Kittle can line up anywhere. He can line up on the outside for all he cares. He has the receiver, the talent to line up on the outside as a deep threat. So at the end of the day, this is just too much of a mismatch for the Cowboys. And even if Brock Purdy plays on a mediocre level, I'm putting my money on the Niners for this game, Meisty. So yeah, going with the Niners. We're both going with the Niners. Consensus. And I think that's
something.
What?
We agree on something.
Yeah, that's all that we have agreed on, but we'll see what happens. Any final thoughts on this game and the other games before we get out of here?
Nope.
All right, let's take it to the divisional round, baby. Again, a lot of expectations.
I think this is going to be...
I hope so.
Rocky, the storylines on this week are so insane. Cowboys, Niners, Bengals, Bills. I mean, that's obviously the game, right? Giants, Eagles, there's history.
Yeah.
Jaguars, Chiefs, you got the young buck.
Yeah, agreed. There's a lot of
The
great
GOAT,
headlines.
possibly going head to head. Do it.
Yeah, great headlines. Great headlines all around. I'm pumped. I think it's going to be great. Maybe we'll get. I think I picked all the favorites for this, but there's a good chance there will be one upset. The question is, where will the upset come? There's only one way to find out, Meisty. That is to watch the NFL this weekend. So enjoy, everyone. Enjoy divisional round. Hopefully we get even a fraction of the level of entertainment that we got last year in the divisional round. But until then, everyone, peace out.